Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a nice hot cup of coffee so that you can sit down and enjoy the conversation. As you guys know, this is the premier place where we have discussions about politics, firearms, firearms culture, policy as it relates to Hollywood, as it relates to movies, activism, you name it. We're talking about it here on Coffee with Craig. So please do us a favor. Take a moment to like and share our video feed. Let everybody, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, know that, hey, this is the spot. This is the place to be if you want to talk guns, gun policies, gun culture. So let's get into today's topic. Now, everyone, over the last week, a lot of the conversation has been relating to the March for Our Lives. Now, this is an event that was put on, supposedly led by the students from Parkland, Florida, who experienced a tragic shooting. An individual came on campus and shot 17 students dead. The students that we all mourn, and we're all concerned about the safety of our students and our young people on school grounds. Now, the thing is, though, is that, we've been told that during this March for Our Lives, during this march, or during this whole thing, we are not allowed to talk about, discuss, or criticize anything that that the young people say. Now, mind you, these young people, they're emotional. They're dealing with a lot of stuff. They've gone through something for the most part. They've gone through something, and therefore they're bound to say just about anything. And there are those in the media that would lead us to believe that we're wrong if we dare criticize or say anything that might potentially harm their self-esteem, because we have to be so concerned and so sensitive towards what's going on. And here's kind of, I think this CNN anchor kind of gives you the sentiment that many on the left would have you say.
And I think that the marchers, some of the rhetoric that was became very. It was too much for a lot of law-abiding gun owners in this country, and I understand that. And some of the rhetoric coming from some of the Parkland kids was a bit much. I just think that some of them, saying that the NRA has the blood of children on their hands and
but
all
I
of this.
heard,
And I think
Tara,
the NRA deserves scrutiny.
I heard
those kids,
during the election,
I
heard women whose son there was this one woman whose son had been killed, I think in Benghazi, and she came out and she said really horrible things about, Democrats, about Hillary Clinton, or whatever. And no one criticized her because she was grieving. These kids are grieving, and of course they're kids. They're going to say those things. But also, the majority of those kids,
you can't criticize the rhetoric because they're victims.
So what? They're kids. So what?
They're kids, but we're elevating them to a point now where they're now making policy.
But don't you think they feel the same way that most Americans feel, and that's how the kids feel?
Most Americans don't think that we shouldn't have a Second Amendment. I mean, those
kids are not saying we shouldn't have a Second Amendment.
Some of the kids
they're
are getting
saying
the most
that assault
attention.
weapons.
I mean, some of the kids that are getting the most attention are saying some pretty radical things, and I understand, and it's difficult for law-abiding gun owners to just stay silent.
That's what gun owners are saying. That is the extreme that you're going to. Those kids are not saying get rid of the Second Amendment. Those kids are saying that there should be sensible gun laws, and that's how most Americans feel.
But they're not defining what those are, and this becomes very.
They want assault weapons banned, right?
An assault weapons ban would not have prevented this. So, I mean, assault weapons bans we already saw that when they had an assault weapons ban, you didn't have a negligible amount of violence.
Do you tell the kids to shut up? Sorry, Steve hasn't spoken either.
Shut up. I think they have a right to do this, but I also think that if you criticize some of what they're saying, then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. But
you are the bad guy.
No,
yes, you are. You are. These kids suffered an unimaginable tragedy. You let them vent, and you move on. You're an adult. You let them vent, and you understand that you're an adult. Maybe you do understand more than they do, but you let them vent.
So in other words, we're supposed to let young people, people who have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, we're supposed to allow them to create policy. We're supposed to allow them to affect Congress and say whatever it is that they want because, well, they're young people and they've gone through a very tough tragedy. Now, mind you, he brought up the Gold Star mom who brought up the Hillary Clinton during the campaign. But what he fails to understand is it was directly the decisions that were made by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton that really opened up the door and caused that to happen. Now, I don't want to get into talking about Benghazi, but understand that there is a fundamental difference here. In this case, no one from the NRA, no member of the NRA was involved in the shooting. Members of the NRA, or the NRA as an organization, doesn't set a policy relating to keeping schools safe. No, that's not the NRA. But none of that is the point. So, in other words, we're told that no matter what, if you dare question anything that is put out, anything that is said by these young people, then you are a bad person. You're the bad guy. But here's something. What if one of the leaders of this movement actually lied? What if they saw an opportunity to get theirself and their face in the media, to be able to get out there and be kind of the face of everything that went on? I wonder who could possibly do such a thing.
Where were you yesterday when the shooting started?
So yesterday I was in my AP Environmental Science class. We had just taken out all of our notes and we were about to pack up to leave we were about to leave school, and we hear a pop. And it happened to be a gunshot that echoed through the hallway. And because of that, my teacher actually went and closed the door. But as soon as she closed the door, the fire alarm was pulled. So this sick man could come and get more soft targets. Silly, not thinking critically. We walked outside, and that's when he started taking down even more people because of the fire alarm going off. And luckily, when we were actually going out to our fire evacuation zone, and as we were headed out there, a flood of people started running in the opposite direction, saying, go this way, go this way. So I followed the herd, and as we were running in this one direction, we happened to be running towards the shooter. But thank God there was a janitor there that told us not to go any further, because there was because the gunman was right there. And he got us all into one classroom with the help of Chef Kurth. And as a result of that, I think they saved easily 40 lives that day, just with 1 minute of action. And that's what I really want to push through, is the fact that just one small minute of action can make a huge difference. And that's what I want people at home to know. They can make a difference in their community. They can make a difference in the world. They can do that by calling out their congressmen, talking to government legislators, and letting them know this is not acceptable.
Now, I found it interesting that here he is in the midst of everything that is going on. He has his anti-Second Amendment talking points ready to go. He has them ready to go, and he's right there, and he is not going to let a tragedy go to waste, just like many Democratic politicians. Now, but like many Democratic politicians, unfortunately, the truth, let's just say the truth seems to evade him from times. Or how shall we say it? The truth is ever evolving. How about that? The truth is ever evolving, kind of like they believe our Constitution is. But here is Mr. Hogg's ever evolving truth.
On the day of the shooting, I got my camera and got on my bike and rode as fast as I could 3 miles from my house to the school to get as much video and get on as many interviews as I could, because I knew that this could not be another mass shooting.
This is not about us.
All we're doing is telling the truth.
This is not about us. This has never been about us. This is about the movement.
Yeah. So if he was in his AP class, why did he have to get his bike and ride to the school in order to be able to do interviews? See, here's the thing. Clearly, this young man has been caught in a lie. Clearly, he is lying. Now, people will tell you, well, why does it matter? Why does it matter if he lied? Well, here's the thing. We have an entire movement, an entire left-wing movement that is pushing the idea, and the mainstream media is all part of it. You heard the folks over at CNN. They're all part of this movement that is pushing to subvert the rights of law-abiding citizens, that's looking to take away and ban guns. Now, they say that they're not, but they say that in one breath, and then in the very next breath, they say, well, we're going to ban this gun. And then they say we're going to ban that gun. And then we're going to ban your ability to be able to carry it. And then we're going to restrict who can get access to guns, down to this little infinitesimal group of people that, well, may or may not include law enforcement. And you see it and you hear it. And you know what? These kids, these young people, they are right there. They are on the front lines right along with these people saying the exact same dribble. In fact, here's some examples of what you have to hear from them.
What if our politicians weren't the bitch of the NRA?
And to those politicians supported by the NRA that allow the continued slaughter of our children and our future, I say get your resumes ready.
We will take the big and we will take the small, but we will keep fighting. When they give us that inch, that bump stock ban, we will take a mile.
So let's be clear. You know, this big rally, these kids didn't put that on. They didn't put that on by themselves, and they didn't pay for it. The commercial that was put on, the very, very theatrical commercial that was put on, guess what? That was not put together or done by these kids. The thing is that these kids are pawn. David Hogg is a pawn. He is a pawn being used by individuals who seek to ban our right to keep and bear arms, who seek to take our rights away from us. And we all see that. And the worst part is Mr. Lemon refuses to at least acknowledge and own that. So let's just be clear. You know, if you decide, I love playing basketball, right? I'm basketball. I ain't the best basketball player in the world. People who know you will say that. I'm more of like a 6-foot power forward. You know, I play with aggression. And anybody who plays with me will tell you that I play hardball. I play very physical. And I believe my politics is the same way. And I will tell you what I tell any, whether it's a high school or even when a woman decides she's going to come and get on the court. Here's the deal. You get on the court with the big boys, then you plan with the big boys. I am not going to take it easy on you when you decide that you are going to step in the middle of this game. When you decide you're going to be in the middle of it and you decide you're going to utilize this to get your 15 minutes of fame in order to push a personal political agenda, well, then you've stepped into it with the big boys, and you get what you get, and you get what you deserve. And I'm not going to treat you any differently. So when you decide that you want to start calling people bitches, just understand who's really being pimped out. You need to understand that when you do step into that game, that what you say matters. And when you step up and you blatantly lie about where you were, and now we all know that there's an agenda behind what it is that you're doing, well then, Mr. Hogg, Mr. High on the Hog, you need to sit your little ass down. And you need to shut up because, well, you've just been exposed over and over again. Look, you know what? Here's the thing. This is the thing. Do I believe that we need to listen to our youth? Yes, most definitely I do. Do I believe that they need to be driving and dictating policy? Hell no. Why? Why in God's name would I listen to someone who does not have the right to keep and bear arms take away my right to keep and bear arms? I might as well listen to felons. They don't have the right to keep and bear arms. I might as well listen to them as much as listen to these folks. Why would I listen to someone who blatantly has clearly already made up his mind, had his talking points all prepared that he was against the Second Amendment? Why would I listen to them when it comes to my Second Amendment rights? Why would I listen to someone who is so impertinent they would yell at, curse at people who want nothing more than to give them the opportunity to have their say and to vent? Well, you know what? You've demonstrated, you've been given the opportunity, you have abused it. Now it's time for you to sit down and shut up. And if you're not prepared to do that, well, then come on. Then you get what you get, and you get the same exact treatment as any adult. Heck, if an adult decided if a youth decided that they were going to act like an adult in committing a crime, guess what? They would be tried as an adult. Well, in the court of public opinion, Mr. Hogg and your friends, as you've decided and you've made it very clear that this is, in fact, about you, because you've made it about you, well, then guess what? We are going to talk about you. And you, my friend, are a liar. And we all know it. I know your Democratic friends don't care. I know your gun-grabbing friends, they don't care about the truth. They never have cared about the truth. But just know that people who are paying attention, you know, even not just us who are on the who believe in the Second Amendment, people who are still thinking and making up their minds, people who are honestly still kind of out there looking, trying to figure out what is real and what is truth, they know you for what you are. You, my friend, are a liar. And we will leave it at that. That will be it for today's Coffee with Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part in the fight for our civil rights. Remember, you have got to use them or... I didn't even say civil rights yet, did I? Yes, right. Civil rights. Remember, you got to use them or you're going to lose them. We'll talk to you later.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.